This week's Parsha is Parshas Noach, and this week's video is sponsored L'Ilu Nishmas Tzemach ben Naftali. The Parsha starts off right away. Eila told us Noach ish tzaddik. Noach was a righteous person. Tamim hoya b'derosav. He was a pure-hearted person. Esel Elokim es halach Noach. He walked with God. And right away, after introducing Noach on such a high level of praise, Rashi pounces on him and says, hey, he's not such a tzaddik. Compared to Avram Avinu, who lived 10 generations later, Noach's a nothing. And furthermore, Noach, es Elokim, es halach Noach, he walked with God, but only because he needed God to support him. So he walked side by side with God because he needed to lean on God. However, Avram Avinu needed no support. Hashem said to Avram, Hishalech lefanai v'yesamim. You walk in front of me because you don't need my support. You are able to stand on your own. The question is, why is it that Noach needed support but not Avram? So I saw a vart from the Foxhole. He asks a different kasha. On the end of the parsha where Avram Avinu is initially introduced to the Torah, after the incident with Ur Kasdim, and he asks, how come the Torah never mentions how Avram Avinu found God? Avram Avinu searched for Hashem and eventually found Hashem. How come the Torah doesn't describe the process of what he went through in order to do that? So Foxhole gives a very applicable mashal. He says there were two brothers who grew up on a farm. They were very close. But one day, after 20 years of living together on the farm, the older brother decides he had enough of cats and cows. He wants to make it in the big city. He wants to become a banker. So he travels all the way to the big city, to Manhattan. And after many years of living there, his younger brother, the farmer, decides to come and pay his brother a visit. See how he's doing in the big city. They go out for a cup of coffee after visiting his prestigious bank. And as they're walking to the coffee shop, in the middle of Times Square, the farmer hears ever so faintly a cat meowing, crying for help. He was stuck. His foot was stuck. And he goes and he helps him and frees him. A few minutes later, the banker hears some coins falling out of someone else's pocket and quickly runs and scoops them up. And the Foxhole says the nimshal is very clear. A banker hears coins and a farmer hears cats. Whatever you are attuned to listening to, that is what you will hear. The Torah doesn't need to tell us how Avram Avinu found God, because he was attuned to God. By listening and looking out for him and actively searching for Hashem, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that he found him. If someone is looking for Hashem, they will find him no matter what. It's just what you're attuned to and what you are looking for. And that, in my opinion, is the difference between Noach and Avram. The last words of last week's parsha says, "V'Noach motzo chen b'yinei Hashem." Noach found favor in God's eyes, meaning Hashem saw that he was the most righteous out of anyone in the generation, which wasn't saying much, but because he was doing what was right, he found favor in God's eyes. But not that Noach found God. God found Noach. So Memela, Noach wasn't as high on a pedestal as Avram Avinu, who went on his own and went to search for God on his own. And that's why he was able to stand on his own. He doesn't need Hashem to back him up to the nations. He's able to prove to the world that there is a God on his own conviction. Noach needed God's support in order to convince other people. And that is the difference between Noach and Avram. As the saying goes, there are no atheists in a foxhole. Because when you are looking for God, when you are in a dire situation and you need God, you will find him. Look at what's going on in Eretz Yisrael. The outpouring of Torah, of Tefillah, of Chesed, of everything that we are doing to save Am Yisrael because we are in a tzara. And when we are looking for God, we will find him. May we be zeichet to end this war quickly and safely. And may we be zeichet to Mashiach Tzidkenu b'meher v'yameinu amen. Have a beautiful Shabbos.